The Ferrari California T, is this car a totally overlooked gem or is it completely overrated and the least desirable Ferrari? Today we are working on a 2015 California T. These Ferraris for a long time have, I don't know, in the car community I always feel like they're totally overlooked because cooler cars like 458, 488, those type of Ferraris exist and they're the ones that people know. So a lot of times people think California T is kind of like a whatever Ferrari. But spending the week working on this California has made me really appreciate this vehicle. It is still a fantastic Ferrari and objectively, it is a good sports car. Today we're going to walk you back what we did to restore this over 10-year-old Ferrari. We're going to check out the condition of the paint. We're going to go ahead and fix a lot of the blemishes and then we're going to seal it in with paint protection film and a ceramic coating. I'm going to take you behind the scenes, front to back, and what we do with a decade-old Ferrari. So the California T is powered by a 3.8-liter twin-turbo V8, pushing about 550 horsepower and 557 pound-feet of torque, which even by today's standards is fast. Back in the day, 2015, those numbers were pretty incredible. Now, what's really cool about the California is that it has back seats. They're designed to be a lot more practical. So if you have small children, you can put them back in your Ferrari and go to car shows and whatnot. This is designed to be a more touring, usable Ferrari. So when Ferrari made this product, they wanted to appeal to a different demographic. They wanted this vehicle to be more of a touring vehicle, and I feel like they've achieved it with this California T. Despite this car being turbocharged, Ferrari wanted this car to maintain its NA feel. And so this car is flat plane crank. It has twin scroll twin turbos, and so these turbos spool a lot faster, delivering a more Ferrari NA experience, right? So you can get all of that with back seats, and this is designed to be a fantastic touring car. And so the owner of this vehicle brought us this car. He just picked it up, but it has some wear and tear. The paint condition is a little bit weathered. I mean, it has seen over a decade of use, but with our restoration today, we're gonna go ahead and bring that red back to its former glory, and then we're gonna seal it in. So before we touch the vehicle at all, before we do any type of paint fixing, before we seal it in, every single vehicle starts with a great and thorough wash. If you don't prep correctly, it just causes problems later down the road with debris, dirt and grime that's stuck in the paint. That stuff has a chance to get trapped underneath paint protection film or cause problems during the paint correction process. We would like to avoid all of that. So our prep work involves a 3-bucket wash. That's 2 buckets for paint, 1 for wheels. We wash the entire vehicle by hand, section by section, top down. And we do this to mitigate the chance of dirt and grime entering our wash mitt and scratching the paint as we wash. There's a lot of swirl marks and scratches already in this paint. We don't need to make it harder for us when we go to restore it. So we wash this way to maintain that integrity of the paint. We wash it safely, and this is gonna net us the cleanest and best results for when we do our restoration. Once the hand wash is finished, we move on to the clay. So clay bar or clay mitt is a step used to pull embedded contaminants that are stuck in the paint. With this car being over 10 years old, there's gonna be a lot of grittiness in the paint. So if you run your hand across the paint, you'll hear a grittiness, you'll feel the grittiness too. And so the clay mitt and clay bar are designed to pull those embedded contaminants that don't come out with just a standard hand wash. This step is very, very important because it removes those deep contaminants. We're not trying to seal over that. We need to make sure the paint is completely clean and naked before we start our restoration. And so this step is just one of the important parts of our prep. Because we're gonna be tucking in this paint protection film today, our team is going to be not only cleaning on top of the paint, but opening up the compartments and cleaning kind of around as well, around the perimeter and the backside. And this is very important because a lot of times dirt and grime will stay on those areas that aren't touched by the exterior wash. And so we go through with the brush, we clean the nooks and crannies so that dirt and grime doesn't impede our paint protection film. We're gonna be tucking the film on the backside around the perimeter, and if it's dirty back there, the film won't stick. So doing this step ensures that that film stays tucked once it's installed. As we're prepping the vehicle, we're also gonna be doing some minor disassembly. So specifically on the hood, there are 2 little vents that gotta come out because when we're laying paint protection film, we'd like to get that film as close as possible, if not tucked underneath completely in that vent. And so tucked film is great for 2 major reasons. Aesthetically, it's beautiful. You can't tell that it's there, but more importantly, just looking pretty. Tucked film, without as many exposed edges, is less likely to catch and lift, giving this paint protection film better durability over time. Doing disassembly this way is just the last step that we do for prep to ensure that our paint protection film goes on clean and goes in tight. Looking at this paint up close, you can see things like swirl marks, scratches, there's a couple minor water spots that are stuck in the paint, and to be honest, this is normal wear and tear over time, right? Over time, paint becomes weathered, so if you wipe it enough times or if you're not using enough lubrication or soap when you're washing the cars, these swirl marks and scratches can happen on paint. And so with this vehicle being over a decade old, we're gonna go and do what's called a paint correction to remove those blemishes prior to us sealing it in. Paint correction is a process where we take a polisher and we polish out those type of swirl marks, those scratches, any type of minor oxidation or haziness that you see in the paint. Paint correction fixes those by removing a very thin layer of the clear coat, quite literally polishing it even, right? And in doing so, not only does it remove the defects, but it dramatically improves the gloss of that paint. It's gonna bring out a deeper, sexier vibrance, and that is the finish that we're looking to achieve before we seal it in with the ceramic coating and paint protection film. With the paint correction finished, it's now time to move to the paint protection film. The surface has been cleaned, it has been perfected. Now we're gonna seal it in first with some paint protection film. PPF is strong enough to take physical damage. So that means rock chips, scratches, scuffs, swirl marks, and even chemical damage like staining and oxidation. Paint protection film is designed to be a sacrificial but durable layer of protection. And so when we apply it to this car, it's going to protect it from getting physically damaged, so it keeps that paint that we have just polished out looking crystal clear. So we're gonna be starting with the hood first. Before we lay paint protection film on the hood, we're gonna be doing what's called edge prepping. So this is very important because not only are the edges need to get cleaned, but hard edges on the exterior also need to get waxed. Now you might be thinking, why do you need to wax the car if you're gonna lay PPF over? The wax allows for that paint protection film to move and be stretched across it. Without that wax, what can happen sometimes is that the paint protection film, the adhesives on the back side, they will activate prematurely. And if you pull or try to stretch PPF while the adhesive is active, you will tear the adhesive, causing a defect in the film. It'll look like little tears, it'll look like little white marks. You don't want those type of defects in a Ferrari like this. Ferrari Red does not have a lot of flake in it, if any, and so any type of these type of minor film defects will stick out like a sore thumb. So by waxing those edges, we mitigate the risk of the film tacking or adhering prematurely, allowing us to stretch and squeegee all in one clean piece, reducing those defects and giving us a better product overall. So with the hood prepped with wax and the edges cleaned, we are now ready to lay that paint protection film. To lay the film on this hood, because it's more of a complex shape, we're going to be doing a 4-corner stretch, which has us take a big piece of bolt and, as the name suggests, stretch it across 4 corners on that hood. This stretch diminishes and reduces any type of bunching up or fingers as we lay the film across. And this is important so that that film doesn't lift over time with a little bit of heat or wear and tear. So make sure that stress and the tension of that film is even across the hood is one of the most important parts of laying PPF. So once we see that, hey, this film is behaving, it looks good, now we can squeegee. So once that 4-corner stretch has been achieved, now we squeegee section by section, and we're gonna go slowly to make sure that there aren't any leftover contaminants like dust, dirt, or any other small debris that might have snuck its way in. Even though we've done all this prep work, it's very important that we go slow and we look at our work, because if we seal in even a little small hair, you'll see that in the PPF, and obviously we don't want those type of defects because that will cause us to redo the entire panel. So we move slow, we go section by section, and once the paint protection film has fully been squeegeed, we wipe down and do one last inspection to make sure everything is clean, and then we'll trim. So now that the paint protection film has been laid, it's time to trim. Now we did lay this paint protection film all in one piece, so we have to trim by hand. We'll be going around the perimeter just a little bit over, enough so that we can tuck the film on the back side, but not so much that there's a ridiculous amount of material on the underside of the hood. And so as we're trimming it, we go nice and slow, and we try to make sure that it's even by lining up our index finger and slicing smooth. So have you ever seen those painters where they're painting a clean line, like those pinstripes on cars? This is a very similar technique. It requires some steadiness, it requires some patience, but man, once you're fast, you can do it clean, sharp, and quickly. Because this vehicle is so old, we've actually had to use bulk paint protection film, which means we're not using a cutout, we're using one flat piece to do the install, right? A lot of times these kits on older vehicles, they're not very accurate, and so doing it in bulk this way ensures full coverage, but it also gives us a cleaner coverage as well. It looks more seamless, right? On this front fender, we've laid the fender itself in one piece, but we have to trim around the badge and the turn indicator by hand. This is very, very tedious and it's tricky. So unlike trimming the edges of the hood where you can just slice all the way through, when you're cutting on panels, you have to score the film. You can't cut through the film, because if you cut through, you'll cut through to the other side and scratch. So as we carefully score the film, we're able to tear where we've scored, and that gives us a clean cut without damaging anything underneath. And this requires extreme skill. Funny enough, when I train my technicians, I actually train them on a closet door. We have a door that's in my shop that's covered in PPF, and I train my technicians to cut on that door before they touch a single vehicle. So as I train technicians, this is how we train, but you can see the final result here. As we're trimming carefully around the badge and that turn indicator, we're able to get a very precise installation. Another tricky thing with this fender is the recess. So if you look, there's the little valley where the fender is, right? And so how do you get a flat piece of film to go into a valley and stick? And so the answer is with hot water, believe it or not. So we have what's called a tack solution, which activates the adhesive a lot quicker. It's literally hot water, right? So we feed a little bit of hot water into the recess, we push it in with our hand, and then we slowly squeegee as we hold that film down with our hand. And in doing so, you can get film to manipulate over a recess or a valley like that and stick long term. For the front bumper, we will be using a pre-cut kit. We tested this kit before, and the front bumper itself seems to be pretty good. So what we have to do when we're using kits, unlike bulk, is that we have to actually align stuff really sharp. So with this Ferrari, we're gonna start with the middle badge, right? That's the part that sometimes if it's too far to the left, too far to the right, if the alignment is off, it looks terrible. So we start actually in that middle, make sure the alignment is good. Then just like the hood, we stretch that kit around that front bumper and then line things up, looking at corners, looking at edges, looking for contamination, looking for cleanliness, and then making sure that we're very thorough as we squeegee it shut. So it's a whole bunch of constantly checking, aligning. Sometimes you gotta re-lift stuff back up, but that's how you use a kit. And for these exotic vehicles, they're even trickier. So we really do have to be patient and move kind of strategically around that front bumper to get that film to lay in that piece. Moving on to the windshield. Now this is a really interesting product. Windshield protection film is very different from paint protection film in its clarity. So windshield protection film, if you lay it over glass, it doesn't have a slight wavy texture the way even the best paint protection film may have. Windshield protection film is designed to be very clear, but just like paint protection film, it's strong enough to take damage. So that not only means the big rock chips that could shatter your glass, but on sports cars especially, it means the small pitting that happens from sand over time. That pitting over time will cause a bunch of these little small craters in your windshield, and if the sun hits it at the right angle, it'll blind you. It's very not great. And so a lot of times, I have clients who replace windshields just to get rid of that pitting. Windshield protection film prevents and mitigates that type of wear and tear over time, and even if it does get really beat up, just like paint protection film, you just peel it right off. I always say if that windshield protection film saves you just one replacement, it is paid for itself. And so we're gonna be applying windshield protection film on this Ferrari today, and we have to install it very similar to the way that we've laid the rest of the paint protection film, doing a stretch, squeegeeing, checking for cleanliness, and then trimming. Finally, moving on to the mirrors, we're gonna lay that paint protection film in one big bulk piece as well. The bulk allows us to stretch the film over a round surface. It's just easier for us to do it. Now they do make kits for this, but our team prefers to do bulk installations for mirrors because it allows for fuller coverage, but more importantly, it's more durable. Because we are stretching that film across the x-axis of that mirror, it allows for less tension on the bottom side, meaning that it's not gonna lift over time. So bulk installation for mirrors is the way we like to do it. With the paint protection film laid, the paint's already been corrected and prepped, it is time to seal with a ceramic coating. So if paint protection film is designed for physical durability from rock chips, scratches, and swirl marks, Ceramic coatings are designed for chemical protection. So that means things like oxidation, bird poop, bug guts, tree sap, and any type of dirt and grime. It builds a non-stick layer of protection over the treated surfaces. Once this car gets treated in our ceramic coating, because of its non-stick nature, this vehicle doesn't really get as dirty. And even when it is dirty, it cleans up like a Teflon frying pan. Things just don't stick to it, right? And so it makes cleanup a breeze. More importantly, it's stain resistant. So stains have a harder time sticking and adhering to that finish, which damages paint. So because it's so non-stick, those things are less likely to stain paint, giving this clarity a better durability over time. Ceramic coatings, on top of providing great chemical resistance, they also look like fresh wax all the time. And so after this car gets a basic wash, it'll look like the owner has just spent the entire Saturday waxing the vehicle. So with this Ferrari getting treated in that ceramic coating, it'll stay cleaner longer and it'll look like fresh wax all the time. So super glossy, and one application is good for a warranted 5-year durability, and that's what this Ferrari is going to be getting today. On top of all the paint and paint protection film getting ceramic coated, we will also be applying it to all the glass and wheel faces. On glass, because this car is driven most days, it's probably going to see some rain, and so when glass is ceramic coated, just like paint, it becomes very non-stick, which means water doesn't pull up on the windshield as easily. So when you're driving during heavy rain, your visibility is dramatically improved because that water doesn't pool and blind you. When wheels are ceramic coated, that brake dust has a harder time sticking, keeping that wheel cleaner longer, and even when they do become dirty, just like paint, they clean up really easy, so you never have to bust out heavy wheel assets to clean your sports car wheels. They just clean up easily with a much more mild detergent or even soap. And so with the entire vehicle protected, paint, glass, and wheel faces, this Ferrari is good to go. And there you guys have it. That is full front-end paint protection film on this Ferrari, as well as a paint correction to restore the paint and a ceramic coating over everything paint, glass, wheels, so that that car stays cleaner longer and stays stain-free. The owner of this vehicle wanted to have a car that looks great, but he didn't want to be waxing it every weekend. He didn't want the anxiety of a rock chip. He just wants to enjoy his Ferrari. And with this car, it is going to be driven a lot more. So because it's going to see a lot more of the road, he wanted something more durable, and this is that exact package. What's really great about this combo package is it is probably one of my best value packages overall. It covers all of the high impact areas of the vehicle without being excessive, and that ceramic coating is something that you will notice every single day that you have this car. You'll just notice, it's just, man, my car looks clean. That's what's so great about these ceramic coatings, and we back up all of our work under extensive warranties. Paint protection film comes with a 10-year warranty. Ceramic coatings come with a 5-year warranty, and so they are just fantastic products designed to last. You buy once and cry once, and then you can just enjoy your car. So if this sounds like a protection package that fits the bill for your car, whether you've got an exotic or even just like a daily driver, these packages are designed to be preventative. And so it's better to pay this up front, enjoy your ride, than pay for a paint job and have the anxiety of dealing with that down the road. And so if you want to give your car protection like this, packages usually take about 3 business days to complete. This one was a little bit longer because of that paint correction, but as you can see with some of this B-roll, it is well worth the wait. Looking at some of these clips, you can see the depth and gloss of this paint. It just looks fantastic. And like I said, it's gonna stay that way. That's the point. So if this type of protection package sounds like the right fit for your car, give us a call. We do very thorough, in-depth consultations, and we can take you front to back on what makes sense for your specific scenario or maybe what doesn't make sense. But either way, if you want a clean car and you want the pros to touch your vehicle, we're the guys for you. It's Jesse at Humble Crew Auto Spa, and I'll see you next time.